What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. As always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Know that I'm a certified empowerment coach and president and CEO of Express Your Vibe Coaching Communications. And something new has just been added, but I will get that till the end of our conversation. For the last few weeks, we haven't had him on for a bit. Rodney Kellum has been dropping some knowledge bombs when it comes to fatherhood, manhood, and he hasn't been with us for a while. He'll catch that up on why he hasn't been with us for a while, but he has a success story, a victory story that he enjoyed yesterday. But welcome back to the Speak Life series, Mr. Rodney Kellum. How are you?
Doing wonderful, Dr. Bob, and as always, it is a privilege, and I want to say thank you for allowing me the time to speak life to your audience, and again, it's a privilege. We've been going through, I've been busy, very busy. Just yesterday, we had the Dad Factory event in Norcross, Georgia, which is an Atlanta suburb. Been in my mind and my heart for years, been in planning for months, and it finally came to fruition, and it was a wonderful event for fathers. Fathers got to be poured into, got to fellowship, great conversation, great topics, panelists, games, giveaways. We're definitely going to do it again. And I'm just amazingly blessed to have been a part of it and for God to trust me to help bring it to pass. And so back to our series, because I love delivering this message of hope and speaking life to people through every avenue and platform that I can. And Dr. Vibe has a wonderful platform. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for being patient with me. This week's topic, it says, it's okay to cry?
Okay, hold on a second. Before we even get to this week's conversation piece, I love when people celebrate success, but there's a backstory. How long, you and I have gone back a little bit. How long were you speaking life to your success that actually happened yesterday?
It's definitely been at least 2-3 years.
Okay.
It's been at least 2-3 years, and when I started off, it was like, okay, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I had resolved in my spirit and decided in my mind that this is going to happen. And so about a year ago, I started just Google searching. I said, okay, let me find some organizations or entities that have content or things for men, for fathers. And I came across the Georgia Center for Opportunity and their Healthy Families Initiative. I reached out to them, letting them know that I'm a speaker and I would love to, partner with them in any way. So I got to go to some of their events. I got to volunteer, and I believe that they're a great organization. I brought them an idea that I was invited to in Fulton County, Georgia, called the Daddy Cafe, and it was a very intimate setting for fathers. Again, great panelists. I said this idea would be great, closer to where I live. I brought it to them. It's been about 4 or 5 months of planning. And it went off without a hitch yesterday. So I'm so extremely grateful. So hopefully this story will let those know that you have this vision and you just think it's going to, always going to just snap your fingers and poof, happen. It may take a little bit of work, some patience, effort. It may take your money, if it's a God-given vision, it's worth it. And a lot of men, fathers were made better by yesterday's event. Therefore, families have been made better. Families are made better. Towns and cities are made better. Cities, states in the world. So this is what I believe. We restore the men. We speak life into the men, and the families will follow, and the world will follow.
Well, I'd like to say congratulations. When I saw on your social media feeds that you were there yesterday having a good time and taking a shot with Kenneth Braswell, a gentleman who I'm trying to get a hold of, but you got an easier road because you're right around the corner, so to speak, from him than I am. I said, that's good stuff, and I was very happy for you and your family that a vision, a dream, a vision became a reality.
Absolutely.
So that's good stuff. Well, today you're going to talk about real men don't cry, and in light of some things that have happened lately to you personally, then in the broader news scope, Anthony Bourdain, I think this is a very appropriate conversation piece. So I'll go for it, my man.
Absolutely, and you are absolutely right, because things like that are just in our face, I'm going to say help us make it impossible to avoid. That the conversation needs to be happened and reframed. One of the conversation pieces we had, a part of that, one of the segments was called Man Up. And Kenneth Braswell actually challenged that term, that how it's used is too often used in a way to attack men for saying, hey, man up, do more, do more. You know, you're impervious, you're a superhero, nothing's ever wrong with you, you can take all this punishment. You can go through child support cases and, you know, children taken away from you and, you know, given cases put on you, going to jail because you can't pay child support, or going through divorce, or going through depression, and just man up. And that's all it takes. And I loved how he clarified that, you know, yes, it's great to take responsibility and make great choices, but it's not always the whole story. And the way that I titled, I put a question mark in the end. It's okay for men to cry? And I think we need to get away from the idea of masculinity as toxic masculinity. I want us to put a circle around that word toxic and cross it out. And we just need to take away that toxic portion, because realistically, that's just machismo. It's the front that you're a male, that you have a lot of testosterone, you can produce children. That's the same thing as being an animal. An animal who is a male can mate with a female, produce offspring. He sits back and watches, and she just does all the hard work. And in 3 to 6 months, that child may be independent. We're not animals. We're not animals. You know, I truly believe we're made in the image and likeness of God. And God needed to commune with his children. Therefore, we need to commune with somebody. We have to have conversations that allow us to express. Now, there's a difference between complaining and expressing an absolute need. If you're hurting, if you're grieving, if something is difficult, if it's beyond your skill set, beyond your know-how, it is okay to reach out for help to a friend that you trust, that you know is equipped, to a clergyman that you know is equipped, to a paid professional that you know is equipped to help you work through these issues. Because if you could do it on your own, you would have done it by now. So, Dr. Vibe, you know, you run into people every day. You say, hey, how are you? They give you the, oh, all right, you know, great day, thanks, love the weather. And they keep it moving. And for us men, that's our automatic response. And I can almost guarantee that on a daily basis, a few people every day ask Anthony Bourdain, how are you? Good to see you, buddy. And he would say, I'm good. I'm good. And you don't know. So having lost 3 people directly in my life to suicide, 2 childhood friends, and a college classmate, a basketball teammate from college, it makes me realize that you have to take, if you're somebody who's in a position to help, or at least listen, when you really ask, how are you? For 5 minutes, do nothing but listen. Keep asking questions that keep them speaking. How are you? Really? How are you dealing with this issue, with this part of your life? Could you use some help? Hey, you hungry? It takes really simple things to invoke a really meaningful conversation. And trust me, it takes those simple, sharing a testimony, sharing a story, revealing a resource that can and will save a life. You will literally be able to help somebody get off of a ledge because you ask more than one question. You dig just a little bit deeper. You offer one prayer. You offer more than just a handshake and a dap hug. You come in and you say, I care. And this doesn't mean you soft. Because I guarantee you it's going to hurt more when you're dealing with the loss and you're grieving than realizing if I could take just a few more moments with this person who's still on this earth to help them move forward. I've dealt with depression. Raised my hand. Couldn't really put a name on it at the time, but looking back, I realized what was happening. Now, I'm not like everybody else. I was able to recognize it and through faith pull myself out of it, but that's not always the solution for everybody. We're not on this earth alone. If God wanted us to be alone, he would have stopped at Adam. We're created to need other people, to have relationships that have meaning and bear fruit, whether it's the marriage relationship or the friend relationship or the family relationship, the buddy relationship, the group relationship, the team relationship. We are built, and it's a necessity to be in communion with other people. Because there's a term that says iron sharpens iron. Where you're weak, they may be strong. Where you're strong, they may be weak. And when they bring up things that they're struggling with, never, ever, 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 ever take that moment to bring them down. Take that moment to build them up, to dig a little bit deeper. Right? I recently lost my grandfather who had just turned 89 years old. So I had to fly up to Pennsylvania to have his funeral and be there for my grandmother. And this was the first funeral in my life I've ever been to that the person, my maternal grandfather, had lived a full life, who didn't die before his time, who in my eyes had did things right. So it wasn't full of sorrow. It truly was a peaceful service. When my mom passed away, she passed away at 41. When my childhood friends passed away, they passed away in teenage years in their early 20s. When my college classmate passed away, we were in our early 30s. All too early. I had a dear close friend pass away from cancer just in this past October 2017. All those were difficult to deal with for several reasons and for a very long time. But I found myself sitting in this church. I was able to shed one tear. But then I got to just honoring my grandfather. And I said, is it okay for a man to cry? The answer is yes. Now, that doesn't mean you have to cry at puppet commercials. It doesn't mean you have to cry when LeBron lost. It doesn't mean you have to cry when things just don't go your way, every single thing, and be a Mr. Boo-hoo. But it means sometimes when a tear is necessary to cleanse you and heal you, let it rip. Let it rip. Maybe you want to do it in private. That's fine. Maybe you have a relationship with those around you that understand, man, dude just lost somebody. I'm here for you, brother. It's okay. And it's time to stop holding things in. One of the big differences between men and women, and why I think they live longer than we do, is they're a lot more likely to reach out for help in the beginning stages of a crisis than men. We reach out at the ending stage of our crisis. When that first chest pain happens, we just ignore it. You know, indigestion. I'm good. Don't say nothing about it. But when it's crippling you and you're having a heart attack, hey, somebody please call 911. Why does it have to get to the heart attack portion? Chest pain is a pretty big sign that something's going wrong in your body. You need to reach out to a healthcare professional, somebody who knows how to help you get better. I've recently had a resolution to get rid of the rest of my stomach, my extra stomach fat, because I realized for the totality of all my children's life, I've been a fat guy. Not my heaviest, but definitely not my thinnest. I've been a fat guy, and I'm tired of being fat, so I've been doing the things necessary to change that. I'm not waiting until I have diabetes, a stroke, a foot amputated, from diabetic complications. I'm not waiting. I don't want to get to crisis mode. So my call to action to the men out there that are listening, that are watching on whatever platform, whether it's right now live or you're watching a replay on YouTube or on drvibe.com, drvibeshow.com, wherever you're watching it, Twitter, Facebook, however you're watching it, I want you to hear my call to action. My call to action is don't wait until crisis mode. Deal with what you're dealing with immediately. Don't wait more than 24 to 48 hours to address an issue. If it's with a person you need to have a conversation with, and not a fight, a conversation with, have the conversation. If you have a health issue that you know is bothering you, go seek help now. If you're dealing with grief, loss, divorce, find someone that you can at least express yourself to. Talk things through, get some wisdom, and hopefully get some healing to the heart hurt that we do experience. We're raised to believe we're superheroes and impervious and men don't cry and you'll be all right, to a world we live in where people are simply ending their lives as a solution. And let me just say, if you're dealing with the idea and the thought that suicide is the answer, I want you to reframe it for just a moment. and hear the love coming from me to you, from my mouth to your ears, and hopefully into your soul. Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And I know you may have been dealing with it for weeks, months, years, or decades. But that's a short time compared to eternity. I want you to know that you're here on purpose for a purpose. You're not here by accident, however you got here on this earth. No matter which parent you came through, good or bad, no mother or no father, whether you're raised by aunties and uncles and grandparents, whether you were adopted in the foster care system, whether you had a two-parent home, whether the father wasn't present or engaged or not, whether you were rich or poor, you are here on purpose for a purpose. And I guarantee and promise you, if you can get attached to that purpose, if you can plug into some healing, your life will be almost completely different. Because everything on earth that God created that operates in its creative purpose doesn't have depression, doesn't have lack. A flower, when the sun comes up, it follows it from when it rises to when the sun sets. That flower is operating in its purpose each and every day. You never see a flower with its head down. You never see a flower not open up its bloom to the sun. Its creation is simple. Its job is to absorb the light from that sun and look beautiful for the world. Help spread love, which is pollen, through the world. You're here on purpose for a purpose. I can't tell you what that is. It's up to you to find out what that is. Men, my call to action once again. Don't wait until it's crisis mode to get help. Whatever that help is, whatever that help needs to be, vent, not in a complaining way, but man, I need help. I'm not the greatest at budgeting, and I'm in debt. I need help. Reach out to a financial planner. There's plenty of free financial resources if you can't afford somebody. There's free stuff everywhere. There's great diet advice, which is a lifestyle change, not just a quickie. If you're dealing with health issues, there's plenty of free clinics everywhere. Dr. Sebi, S-E-B-I, was my resource to changing my life and health outcome. He's all over YouTube. Google him. There's somebody out there that's been through what you've been through. You are not the only one. And I know that at this moment, I'm throwing a lot at you. But I just hope that your spirit is catching it, and it soaks in, and it replays in your mind if you're down. You're here on purpose for a purpose. Operate in it. Reach out for help. Don't wait until crisis mode. Act now to get better. Don't wait. You don't know what tomorrow brings. Tomorrow could be too late. So I want to say thank you to all that are watching and listening for the most valuable commodity on earth, which is your time. Because once you give that time away, you will never get it back. And you chose to give me a few minutes of it, and I'm extremely appreciative of it. This is Rodney Kellum, the creator of Speak Life Inspirational Speaking, fatherpreneur. I want to say thank you again for Dr. Vibe for allowing me to come on this platform. And it feels good because this is my purpose, to speak life into people. I know things are going to continue to tick off for me as they are right now. But it's been people like Dr. Vibe that have helped make that possible. Dr. Vibe has been a resource to me. I reached out because I had a vision. I didn't wait until crisis mode. I just reached out years ago. And I'm so thankful for people like him in my life. You know, you all need a Dr. Vibe. Go get you a Dr. Vibe. It may not be the exact Dr. Vibe. You know, everybody can't have the vibes like Dr. Vibe. You may not be, you know, from Toronto and the Caribbean vibes. You know, you can get you a doctor, you know, a Dr. Stimulus or a Dr. Vibration, somebody close, you know. But well, get you somebody, get you a group of really good people, online or in person, or both, like I do. Surround yourself with good people, positive people. Negative people are toxic. You may have been calling them friend or family for a long time. But if they have never helped you blossom into something better than what you were when you first met, it's time to find other people. All right?
Well, I'm humbled by your praise of myself, and I appreciate it. Don't take it for granted. Also, another person that I respect very dearly is watching this live broadcast, Dr. Tachi. Huge, huge, huge. I don't like using the fan. I'm just a huge supporter. I'm not a fan. I'm a fan of yourself and a fan of Dr. Tachi. Have a few conversation pieces here for you. When was the last time you cried?
I definitely shed a tear at my grandfather's funeral, and I'll be completely honest and open. Just the other day, so today is Sunday, I believe it was Friday. No, Saturday, yesterday. We had a dear friend that passed away in October of cancer. Very young woman. She was so gifted and talented. And the things she left on this earth still leave a mark. And she meant a lot to my wife and I and our family. It meant a lot to us. And her passing away is still difficult to deal with. And I can't look at photos and memories of her on Facebook because it just brings me to a place of just sadness because the light that she was and is. And so just yesterday I was driving and it came to my spirit to say goodbye to her. And tears started to flow. And I'm not ashamed of that because she deserves honor. Her life was so well lived as a servant to God and to other people that why can't I shed a tear for a very close friend, somebody I consider a sister. She became a sister to my wife and I. She helped raise and take care of our daughter and us the same to her children. And so I shed a tear just yesterday. Several tears.
Nice.
Because it's necessary. And if you keep, we can become ticking time bombs emotionally as men. And the only way that we will then express that emotion, that need, is through violence. Through an explosive act of violence, whether it be physical, words, taking it out on some of our loved ones or the person who's nearest to us at the time, on the road. My hometown town of Sacramento, there's a viral clip going around of a man just losing his marbles on a road rage accident. He rammed the car, and I think as he rammed the car, it was like a release. He kept ramming until his front right wheel was gone. He got out of his car, jumped on top of the other truck, jump, kick, bang, bang, bang. The police were there. He would not stop until he absolutely fell out. So you can't tell me that man was not dealing with several things before that moment came. That moment just happened to be his explosion point. More than likely, he couldn't talk about what he was going through or didn't talk about what he was going through, whether it be one issue or several issues. This is how we act in crisis mode. Boom. We just go boom. And there's no reason why we have to continue to get to that point. So maybe that man needed to cry. Several. But now someone else is a victim of him not dealing with his problems, his issues, his emotions properly. So I would say it would have been much better for him to have cried and looked soft than have maybe nearly taken someone else's life because he didn't deal with his issues. Can we be real honest, men? That's all that happens when we don't let things out and process and work through, is we just go boom eventually. And your loved ones don't deserve it. Your children don't deserve it. Your wife doesn't deserve to be the victim of your boom. I boomed before. I'm telling on myself. And these are things that the things that I'm speaking, I know from experience. And I just know, having gone through what I've gone through, and if I share it and I can help someone else veer differently, then I'm doing my job. So to answer that question again, I cried yesterday, and I cried good.
Excellent. Well, one of the things I've said for a long time, and I don't get a chance to say it a lot, but when I get the opportunity to say it, I do, and share with it, I say, many men are screaming and nothing's coming out.
Wow.
I've been sharing that for years. Many men are screaming and nothing comes out. And just to piggyback on some of what you've been sharing tonight, for a lot of men, the two easiest emotions are anger and quietness.
Yeah.
The two extremes. And I just want to add to this conversation. And I also just want to say Dr. Tachi put down some good knowledge here, saying, yes, the emotion will manifest itself in other ways if they don't get out and cry. And I think I have about 5 quick reasons why it's good for men and just people in general to cry, but especially men. First of all, it releases pain. The next thing, it allows that man to heal. It's also important because it's not a sign of weakness. Also, it allows feelings of happiness to be fully realized. People don't realize it. Sometimes you can have tears of joy. So many men think that tears are a negative thing.
No.
It can be tears of joy. I know many a man that told me when they're in the room, when their significant other or wife is having a child and the tears were just flowing.
Yeah.
Is that a bad thing? No. And also, crying is a normal part of life.
When you get something in your eye naturally tears up to heal you of the impurity. It's a natural process. So why would we want to hinder it?
Absolutely. And Dr. Tachi saying, yes, it is a good release. I don't cry much, but it's a release if I do. Well, Dr. Tachi, we're going to work on you. Dr. Tachi, actually, check her out. Just a plug here for her. Does an excellent live stream called Mediascope on Wednesday evenings at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. It's broadcast through Instagram Stories, Instagram Live. And then at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, she is on Facebook Live and Periscope Live. Check it out. It's the best live stream about media, tech, and pop culture. And also, she's on most Wednesday evenings with Leah Miller, who's in Bolivia right now. And those we call the Black Lady Magic Conversations. Please check them out. We have a lot of replays up on the site. Back to Rodney. Let me ask in regards to the crying, how much do you feel this challenge for men is a hereditary and or media thing?
If anything, it's definitely passed on through the images we receive through our fathers, the men around us, our loved ones. And the media definitely perpetrates the macho image of the Superman. And I believe that's a great definition of toxic masculinity, where all we're good for is the procreation piece, and everything else we just got to deal with and suck it up. And women are taught the same thing. You know, when we go through issues as men and women, women get the pass of they're emotional creatures, and they'll, it's okay, let them cry, let them scream at you. And they're taught when they're in relationships with us that we can take it. So there's a lot of men out there that receive emotional and physical abuse from their mates, their spouses, because women are miseducated about men. And let's fully, let's fluff this out a little bit. When God created man, he created man and woman. So we're two of the same being. God pulled woman out of man. So man is still an emotional being. We just may express our emotions less and differently, but we're still emotional. If we weren't, we wouldn't involve ourselves in marriage. We wouldn't involve ourselves in raising children. We wouldn't need relationships, and we would be like those silverback gorillas and those lions, and lions that they mate with the lioness and keep it moving. But we know, because we have a spirit, that we are not the same. We're not animals. We absolutely need this we need great relationships in our life with great people. Lifelong relationships. So the work that I do and the people that I'm connecting with, I'm so thankful for, because we're helping to shift the idea of what masculinity is and what strong manhood is and what fatherhood is in a positive way. Because men are going through so many different things, but the way that the story is told always makes us look like the scapegoat, the wrong, or weak. Right? I know several men as big as me. I'm 6'7", 270 something pounds at this point. Men as big as me, bigger than me, that have been completely emotionally broken down, crying like babies because they couldn't see their children. The woman kept the children from them in their life. So being big and male does not exempt you from going through hardships and experiencing great emotional pain. Does not. And being a man does not mean that when you go through this, that you got to suck it up and just push it to the side. That's a lie. It's a deadly lie. So it's just time. It's just time for more images and more messages and more conversations of masculinity without the toxic, so that we can start to become healthier mentally and physically and spiritually, to become better men, not because we need to be beat up on, but because we need to live long enough to become our best version of ourselves. We need to be poured into. We need people to speak life into us. So I pray and hope as you hear me and see me that you receive that and you get that from me. Because I just want to encourage you. I want you to decide to live another day, another week, another month, another year, another decade, a lifetime. Because that purpose that's in you, somebody needs to see it to continue the cycle of life. Yeah.
I think that is a wrap. I think that that's a great way to end this epic conversation. I'd like to say, Rodney, thank you so much for taking time out of your positive, productive schedule to share with us. If people want to find out more information about what you're doing and the journey that you're on, how can they do that?
So you can find me at Rodney at speaklife.online, which is email. Speaklife.online is the website. At Fatherpreneur on Instagram and Twitter. And find me on my Facebook page, which I'll be a lot more active on. It's called Rodney Kellum of Speak Life. Rodney Kellum of Speak Life. My Facebook fan page. I'm going to be sharing more videos there and content there to come. I've not been the biggest and best person at doing Facebook Lives and Instagram Lives, but I realize that a lot of you out there have enjoyed it when I have done it. So I'm going to continue to bring better content, more consistent content. Also, this coming Saturday, which is June 16th, I have another opportunity. If you have not met me and you want to meet me, if you haven't gotten any merchandise from me and you've been wanting some merchandise from me, I'm going to be a vendor at the Atlanta Fatherhood Expo from 1 to 5 p.m. at Greenbrier Mall. So come on out. It's going to be a great event for the whole family. And this is what I'm all about: faith, family, and funds, and sometimes food. Add that fourth F in there too. And I want you to have a great time. But reach out to me, email me, check out the content at speaklife.online. All these interviews with Dr. Vibe are there as well as Dr. Vibe's website. We try to share it as much as possible to speak life into as many people as possible.
Fantastic. It is Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. If you would like to watch epic replays on YouTube hosted by myself, you're at the right place. So that's easy. If you want to hear audio replays of my epic conversations, you can go to my website, VIBESHOW.com, Apple Podcasts. There is also TuneIn Radio, Google Play Music Store, iHeartRadio. Selected audio replays are available at thegoodmenproject.com and WJMSradio.com out of New York. And we are working on a new distribution platform. So we're speaking the next 30 days, and it'll just be easier than ever for you to listen to the Dr. Vibe Show, but a new platform coming. I am a brand ambassador for the only online magazine dedicated to African Americans in food, wine, and travel. The name of the magazine is Cuisine Noir Magazine. Website address is cuisinenoirmag.com. If you would like some empowerment in your life, I'm a certified empowerment coach, president and CEO of Express Your Vibe Coaching Communications. If you'd like a complimentary 30-minute session, touch base with me. Twitter at DRVIBESHOW. Email address dr.vibe at the.dr.vibe.com. You can also go to my website, go to the top, click on contact the Dr. Vibe Show, and it'll give you the opportunity to reach out to me via email, voice, or video right on my website. Next up, if you are a entrepreneur or business that's looking for media promotion, please touch base with me. I run a great service called gettingmediacoverage.com, and what I do there is I help businesses and entrepreneurs get media promotion and elevate their business, product, or service. Next up, we have Monday evenings, most Monday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, in collaboration with the Good Men Project, one of the most viewed sites in the world for men and manhood issues. I'm hosting a series of conversations called You, Me, and CTE every Monday night. Most of them right now are live podcasts or live audio streams. Some of them are live YouTube. Had a great array of guests come on, and even some former football players are. We've had on one gentleman named Larry Anderson, who played for the Pittsburgh Steelers and won 2 Super Bowl rings with them. and who is it? Some soon to be announced bigger. I'm not going to say soon to be announced. I'll tell you, one of the people we're looking at getting on is Earl Campbell. So if people are old enough, they remember Earl Campbell used to play for the Houston Oilers, and then before that, University of Texas. And also Billy White Shoes Johnson, who used to play for the Houston Oilers. So we're scheduling to get them up. And also, for those who know their football, um, Junior Seau was an all-star linebacker for the San Diego Chargers, and then finished his career with New England Patriots. About a year and a half ago, he passed away. And then when they examined his brain after his death, they said he suffered from CTE. We do have scheduled his sister in the next 2 weeks coming on the Dr. Vibe show. I'm going to drop this one. I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live to talk about it more in depth. This is an announcement, so I can't let Rodney leave me behind, but just found out, it just confirmed yesterday, it's out on social media. I am the Master of Ceremonies for the upcoming Men's and Women's Summit on Masculinity, coming up on November 18th in Toronto. If you are in Toronto at a time or want to come up and see me in action at a live conference all about masculinity, please touch base with me. You can also go to their website. I believe it's Men's Summit or masculinitysummit.com. I will be doing a full Facebook Live on it this week, and also a full Periscope. Yes, I forgot about that. So that's some of the things that are coming up. And also just like to finish off and saying thank you, Dr. Tachi, for your support. It's always appreciated and not taken for granted. Here we go. Wind down time. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Next up, sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. And finally, block assumptions. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith. And Rodney and I will be back either next Sunday or the following Sunday. Just have to get the scheduling all straightened out. Thanks very much. God bless. Keep the faith. Good night.